What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, guys, I'm gonna be breaking down, is the DJI Flip good for real estate media and real estate photography? Let's dive into it. Now, if you want a complete breakdown of this, there's probably a million other videos on YouTube breaking down this drone, but this video is going to specifically target real estate, and is it a good enough drone to be able to get by with real estate photography and videography? I was going to do a complete breakdown, however, I got this drone the day that it released, or I ordered it rather, and a week later it came in from DJI and the gimbal was broken. Just my luck. So instead of doing a complete breakdown, I'm going to be going over whether or not this is good for real estate media and photography in this video. I'm going to be taking it to a listing that I recently photographed and showing you some clips and photos and showing you whether or not the camera is good enough to be able to get by for real estate. All the video clips that you see in this video are from the DJI Flip and the photos as well. And I'm also going to be showing you some before and after so you can see the editing firsthand and see whether or not it's something that you might be interested in. Now, a couple recommendations before we start the actual review of this drone, and the first being, if you're going to get any DJI product, you're going to want to get the one with the RC2 Remote. You do not want to get the normal standard remote because using your phone in this is always a bad idea. When I first got my Mavic Air 2, which was the first drone that I had, using the phone was probably the worst part of that whole experience, and getting an RC2 remote with it, so getting the Fly More package or just getting the remote, is the best upgrade that you can ever get when flying a DJI drone. Again, I highly recommend it. It is always worth the upcharge. So we're going to be going over some of the stuff that I don't like and some of the stuff that I do like, and then my overall recommendation of whether or not you should get this drone for real estate. So one of the things that I don't like about this drone, and it's one of their flagship features for it, is that it turns on whenever you open all the propellers, and it's not going to do that with this one because I turned that feature off. It just kind of annoyed me, and it always kind of startles me every time that I open it up. So I'm so used to turning on the drone by the battery that I just typically do that now anyways. So for this drone, I just turn that feature off. One of the other things that kind of limits this drone is that it only has front sensors. Now, the front sensors are good, however, it doesn't have sensors on the side or the back. So you do have to be careful when flying this drone because you can still back up into something or run into something with the side of the drone. Now, if you are looking to make an upgrade or do a little bit of a price jump, the Mini 4 Pro does have sensors all the way around. So if you're not a confident flyer, that is a good option in terms of an upgrade. Now, leading into the next one, what I do like is I actually like the design of the propeller guards. I actually think it's a cool concept, and you only ever really see it on the Avata. Now, let's get one thing clear. If you think you're going to fly this thing through a home, eliminate that idea from your head. Now, if you want to start flying things through homes, there's other stuff like the Avata, which is a great drone in terms of getting your feet wet with that, or you can fly a Cinewhoop. I also have a Cinewhoop that I fly through homes for FPV stuff, but for the most part, you're going to want to stay away from that with this drone. This drone already makes me a little uncomfortable when I see it flying because even though the camera quality is really good and the video quality is good as well, it looks a little uncomfortable when it's flying through the air in some instances, and flying it through a home would make me a nervous train wreck. So I wouldn't get the idea of flying this drone through a home. Now, while I do like the idea of having propeller guards on the drones and introducing that concept into their newer drones, I don't like where the propeller guards sit. Now, this is just a visual example of why I don't like where the propellers sit, and I know that the Mini 4 and the Mini 3 in that series is going to have the propellers a little bit lower to the ground, but if you notice right off the bat that these propellers sit a lot higher off the ground as opposed to the DJI Flip. The reason why that I prefer the blades to be higher is because if you're using this for real estate and you're not comfortable with catching the drone in your hand, or you have an even surface to land it on, which is a lot of the time, then you have to land it in a place with low grass or a gravel or dirt road or any other instance that's not an even surface. When the blades are this high, there's less of a likelihood of a rock getting caught in there or it getting hit by grass, as opposed to the DJI Flip, the blades and the propeller guards sit so low that there's almost an inevitability where you're going to hit something at some point whenever you try to land the drone. So furthermore, while I do like the prop guards on this drone, I really don't like how low they sit, and while it's not an immediate disqualifier for me, it is one thing that does bother me, and I would like to see them improve on it in the future. Now, when I took this to a listing, the wind was not bad that day. However, this does say that it has 31 minutes of flight time. I would argue that it does not have 31 minutes of flight time. As you can see here, I timed it as I was flying, and I wasn't flying it any crazy or like in sport mode the whole time. I was just flying it to different points of the listing, and I got about 23 minutes of flight time as opposed to the 31 minutes, so that's also something to keep in mind. Again, not a deal breaker. So 23 minutes of flight time isn't the worst thing in the world, but I would keep that in mind when the box says 31 minutes. It's not 31 minutes. However, if you do need more battery life, something like the Air 3 or the Mavic 3 series at all, they're all over 40 minutes of flight time, and I do get over 40 minutes of flight time with my Air 3. So that is something to keep in mind if battery life is a big issue. But let's be realistic. If this is your first drone, you're not going to be flying this for 4 or 5 listings a day. So 1 or 2 batteries is all you're going to need. And if you only have 1 listing that you're going to, or 1 house that you're going to, this will more than do the job of doing that 1 listing or that 1 house. Potentially even 2, honestly, but it just depends on how you fly it. If you're flying conservative, you could definitely at least use 1 battery for 2 houses based on the work that you're doing. One of my last grievances about this drone is that I don't like the, I think it would be called stick drift, is that when you let go of the stick, it takes a minute for it to catch up. I haven't noticed that on any of my other drones, and it's not, again, a deal breaker, especially if you're just doing photography. But if you are doing videography, it is slightly annoying, and I haven't found anything in the settings on my remote to be able to fix that. But if you do know of a fix, let me know down in the comment section down below. I will update that. But as far as I know, as you can see here, I was struggling with it, and it was a little annoying to just see it take a second and lag to stop the actual movement of the camera. Now, while I know I might be nitpicking a lot and it may sound like that I don't like this drone, overall I actually do like this drone a lot. I do like the overall concept and design, and while I do think they are going to make improvements to the future, overall I do think this is actually kind of a nice drone to have. Now, one of the things I do like about this drone is the camera quality of the drone. Now, it's the same camera roughly as the Mini 3 and the Mini 4, and while the Mini 4 can flip vertically to shoot 4K video vertically instead of having the crop sensor down like this one will do, overall, this doesn't exclude the drone from that category of having a really nice camera. As you see in some of the video clips and the photo before and afters, you can tell that this drone does have the capability of shooting some really nice photography and videography. Again, however, I would like to revert back to the fact that if you are going to get a drone, any kind of DJI drone, you get the RC2 Remote. You're going to need it, and it's going to save you a massive headache in the long run. Now, I know it sounds like I've been super critical of this drone, and I have been a little nitpicky, but overall, I do think this is a great first drone to start with. Now, if you obviously are a seasoned photographer, you're probably not looking at the DJI Flip being your first drone. However, if you are coming from a new avenue of photography like wedding or portraits, and you are looking at getting your first drone potentially for a real estate shoot, this wouldn't be the worst drone to start with. Personally, I think that if you were to get any drone to start with, I would get the Mini 4 Pro. However, if you are looking to save a couple $100, the DJI Flip isn't the worst option. Anything DJI, to be honest, is a great addition to your camera bag, but the DJI Flip does have that camera quality that does create good photos and videos, and it will get you by for a while. Now, while I won't be keeping this drone for my day-to-day stuff because I do use my Air 3 pretty frequently as my day-to-day flyer, I do like this drone, and if this video gets 100 likes before I post my next video, instead of putting this on Marketplace, I will give this away with the remote and the extra batteries for free. All you have to do is hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, and if we hit 100 likes, I will give away this drone before the next video if we hit that milestone. Hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel is the best way to support the channel, and we're really trying to hit 1,000 this year, and I can start making more videos once we hit that milestone. So hitting the like button and subscribing is much appreciated, and it helps me out in more ways than you guys know. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and in the next video, I'm going to be breaking down AI editing. It's been the topic of a lot of conversations recently. I sent a ton of photos to an AI editor, and I want to see if you guys can tell the difference, and we're going to be talking about whether or not it's going to replace editors in the future. So it's a video that you're not going to want to miss. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you shareholders in the next video.